Justin Trudeau has resigned as the Liberal Party leader. Essentially, that means that he's stepped down as Prime Minister of Canada. Long time coming. There was endless buzz that this would be happening in a matter of 24 hours or so. In a scheduled address, he's announced the same. Let's cut across live.
Le Parlement est paralysé depuis des mois, après ce qui a été la plus longue session de Parlement minoritaire dans l'histoire de notre pays. C'est pourquoi ce matin, j'ai rencontré la gouverneure générale pour lui faire savoir que nous avions besoin d'une nouvelle session du Parlement. Elle a accédé à ma demande et la Chambre sera donc prorogée jusqu'au 24 mars. Pendant le temps des fêtes, j'ai également eu l'occasion de réfléchir et d'avoir de longues conversations avec ma famille quant à notre avenir.
Okay, so Trudeau currently addressing the media there. He's speaking in French, so I'll just put out some of the bits of what Trudeau's saying, the important highlights really, where he's officially stepped down, resigned as party leader. Effectively, that means that he's also stepping down as Prime Minister. Now, what's also important is that Trudeau's made it clear that he's not going to also consider taking over as the party leader of the Liberals going forward ahead of an election. There's no question of that. So with him stepping aside now, the Liberal Party will have to look for a new face, for a new candidate. Remember, elections in Canada were scheduled to happen in just about 10 months from now, in October. But obviously now, with this particular move by Justin Trudeau, elections will be held much before that in Canada. Trudeau sending out a message that he's a fighter. This at a time when, remember, he's been pushed up against a wall, forced to go ahead and step down with no other option because of dwindling support within his party, calls for his resignation. There's been widespread anger in Canada over issues of high levels of unemployment, over inflation, over the immigration policy of Trudeau. And in the weeks leading up to this particular development, you've had even his Deputy Prime Minister stepping down. Listen in to Trudeau.
I intend to resign as party leader, as Prime Minister, after the party selects its next leader through a robust, nationwide, competitive process. Last night, I asked the President of the Liberal Party to begin that process. This country deserves a real choice in the next election, and it has become clear to me that if I'm having to fight internal battles, I cannot be the best option in that election.
Okay, so that's Trudeau confirming that while he steps down right now as Liberal Party leader and therefore as Prime Minister of Canada, he also says very importantly that I cannot be the best option for the next election. So you've got him conceding that he's clearly not been the best leader for Canada, or for that matter, the best representative of the Liberal Party. There will be a lot of questions, of course, about how this pans out for Canada. There's been attempts by Trudeau, mind you, amid a lot of anger that he's faced from the public. He's seen this coming, especially because his popularity vote has been dipping, and he's attempted damage control in the last many months, including bringing in a new immigration law that was focused on tighter rules. None of that has essentially helped. You saw, in fact, his transport minister stepping down. You had several other ministers, including the deputy prime minister, stepping down from his cabinet. And that was a clear indication that the clock was ticking for Justin Trudeau to also resign as the Liberal Party leader and therefore as the Canadian Prime Minister. Now, it, of course, leaves a big question mark over what happens next in Canada politics. But remember that Trudeau's time as Prime Minister for the last many years has been a turbulent one in the sense that he's been plagued by controversies. Plagued by controversies coupled with the fact that several of his decisions for the people of Canada hasn't been well received. It's led, of course, to a backlash and a whole lot of anger from Canadians who have, in fact, been calling for Justin Trudeau to step down. It's triggered mass protests as well in several parts of Canada in the last few months. So like I said, the writing's been on the wall for Justin Trudeau.
I intend to resign as party leader, as Prime Minister, after the party selects its next leader through a robust, nationwide, competitive process. Last night, I asked the President of the Liberal Party to begin that process. This country deserves a real choice in the next election, and it has become clear to me that if I'm having to fight internal battles, I cannot be the best option in that election. My friends, as you all know, I'm a fighter. Every bone in my body has always told me to fight because I care deeply about Canadians, I care deeply about this country, and I will always be motivated by what is in the best interest of Canadians. And the fact is, despite best efforts to work through it, Parliament has been paralysed for months after what has been the longest session of a minority parliament in Canadian history. That's why this morning I advised the Governor-General that we need a new session of Parliament. She has granted this request, and the House will now be prorogued until March 24th.
Okay, so that is the message from Justin Trudeau, essentially at this point saying, yes, I stepped down as a leader of the Liberal Party, but also maintaining that he will remain in power, in the position, till an alternative is found. Shashank Mattu is joining us with more details on this big development. Shashank, it was expected, the writing was on the wall that Justin Trudeau would have to step down, not just because, of course, of anger within the country against Trudeau, of clearly a rising sentiment against him, but also of anger within the party against him.
No, absolutely right. I think the party had clued into the fact that there was no way that they were going to win the upcoming Canadian general election with Justin Trudeau as Prime Minister. Vast majorities of Canadians at all the polls bear this out, have wanted Justin Trudeau to step down, and have also said that they would be willing to give the Liberal Party, which is Justin Trudeau's party, another shot at forming a government if Trudeau were to step down. So everyone has seen those polling numbers, and over the holidays, over the Christmas holiday as well as New Year, a majority of Liberal MPs, first it was just a couple dozen members of Parliament saying that they wanted Trudeau to step down, but over the holidays, you had a number of caucuses from the Liberal Party come out and say that we want Justin Trudeau to step down, and after that his hand was essentially forced. The public was against him, his own party was against him, and there was nothing to be done at that point in time. His closest political allies had resigned, including Finance Minister Chrystia Freeland, who will probably now be the frontrunner to replace him as Prime Minister. But really the writing was on the wall to end his almost decade-long run in power as Canadian Prime Minister.
Okay, we'll track what happens closely next in Canada. Thanks very much, Shashank, for joining us with those details.